Frank Darabont, but he would invite like Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese over to watch the movie in the private theater. Like I think that was the test screening. And then they wouldn't tell him what to do. They would just say, it's got some weak spots. But yeah, I don't think George ever did test screenings. Tom Bombadil was a fiction of Tolkien's kids' imagination, and there were good reasons they were cut out of the movies. Would he have changed and listened to them if they said, your kids are dumb, cut it out? I don't know. Probably not. Tom Bombadil is a fever dream. Pretty much. I like that it's a fever dream. That's actually pretty funny. It's also implied that Tom Bombadil is the god's god, pretty much. Yeah, I think that's a good assumption. He was older than time, if I remember, was the description. Stoner gods of Middle Earth. Yeah, I don't think the rings didn't do anything. Like, did he just like look at it? It's been so long since I've seen or read the books. I almost want to read the Wildstorm actually put out a gorgeous comic book, by the way, an adapted version of The Hobbit. They also put out one called Wizards, which is pretty cool. But I think it was Wildstorm put out the Hobbit comic book, but it was beautiful, just fantastically painted. Saw Billy Idol on tour, so good. Oh yeah. I have a funny Billy Idol story. So there was a concert here in San Diego, and Billy Idol was the headliner. And it was funny because I think it was like Good Charlotte and a bunch of other bands opened up before him. It was a big music festival thing. But I thought it was funny that all the bands were backstage, and so you had these younger bands, these guys who were in their early to late 20s, doing the show, and somebody when they were talking like, oh yeah, Billy Idol's the headliner, You know, some of them are like, "Oh my god, that's so cool," and somebody else had basically cracked the joke. It's all like, "Hey, who's gonna hold his walker while he's out on stage?" And he says this as Billy Idol walks right past him, rips his shirt off, and he's just absolutely ripped. Like he's in better physical condition than any of these little fuckers in their 20s. And he goes out there and just runs all over the stage, and he's still has the energy he did when he was in his 20s as well. And so he's just